What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hedge Podcast. I'm your co-host, Omar, aka Retro Hoops. It's right there. This is my man, right here. My man, JD. JD Sports Cards 401.
Yep. Underscore. Don't forget the underscore.
Don't forget the underscore. This is kind of dope that they let us do this little secondary thing here.
Yeah. So Omar gave me controls to the inner sanctum here, so I can.
Right.
I 5 minutes in last week, I discovered something, and he's like, "Oh, look at
that." Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So we went live, dude. Last week's live was live.
Dude, that comment by I think Rafer was classic. He's like, "The hell am I watching? This is the stupidest thing ever," but I'm laughing my ass off. It was so dumb.
That was the general consensus for our episode last week. Was that? Well, I guess my wife's home because my dogs are going crazy. The general consensus was like, this is the dumbest podcast I've ever listened to in my life, but I've had the most fun listening to you idiots. So that's good, man. It was good that
somebody, I forget who, but somebody messaged me and was like, the fact that you two guys talked about turtlenecks and whatever for 2 hours, you should be getting an award for that.
Oh man, hold on a second. Let me go close this door.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Omar, we're gonna do a little bit of card hedge updating. We just crossed 500,000 individual cards in our database, literally 27 minutes ago.
That is huge.
Yes, it is. It is a major milestone. So now the push to 1 million by the end of the year.
I want you to explain to people what you mean when you say 500,000 cards in our database, because I think that's one of the biggest things that sets us apart from some of the other services that's out there, right?
Sure. Yep. So what that means is simply this. You know, I don't ever talk about competitors or anything like that, but because I don't use them, obviously, and I don't know enough about them. But from what I've gathered, from what I've been told, the way our competitors count their cards in their database is like this PSA 10 is one card.
Yeah, and then that exact same card in a PSA 9 is considered another card.
Yes. Okay. What we do is we take said card, add it, and then that counts as one, as does all of its grades in a PSA, in an SGC, in a CSG, in a BGS, and an HGA, and raw.
Right.
That accounts, all that data accounts for this one
card. For that one card. That's one. So when we say 500,000, we're saying 500,000 individual cards. Yeah. Yep. Not necessarily 500,000 cards in all of their grades.
Yep.
500,000 cards.
Yep. 500,000 different cards, from pre-war to Pokemon to Magic to racing to baseball, F1, basketball, football, hockey, soccer. Yep. And we are, you know, one of the things, and I don't know how many Pokemon people watch us, if at any, but any of you Pokemon collectors out there, you can hear it here first. We are going to make a major,
big
concerted, sorry, it's not even a word, conscious effort to expand our Pokemon database like nobody's business. And I'm sure once I learn how to do it, it'll grow rapidly.
Yeah.
Because the way we load those is differently than we do sports cards. So I just need to know how to do it and then watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things that our CEO River, who's the one that put all this together, he's actually shown me how to put in Pokemon cards. And so not only are we going to have JD putting in cards, which he's just the grand wizard when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's like one of my hidden talents in life. I never thought I'd ever
is database entry.
Yeah, like I probably could win a contest.
There you go. Yeah. So there's like JD said, there's gonna be a big push. Obviously, getting TCG cards is our number one priority at the moment in terms of database entry, because I mean, let's face it, PSA is grading 500,000 cards. I mean, almost 1.5 million cards a month, and a 40% chunk of that is straight TCG. So
50%.
yeah, I would argue with that also. Yeah, half of it.
Half of it. You don't even have to argue it. It's the data's there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
there,
you're right.
If you took out, what's crazy though, right? Because I was looking for content to do the other day for a video, and I was like, if you took out the TCG from PSA, I bet the numbers are a lot closer. No, it's still not. 10x to the next guy.
Yeah. Because even when you look at the numbers from they're Instagram. What is it?
Gentleman.
Gemrate.
Not gentleman.
Gemrate. So when you look at,
we are going to talk about Gentleman.
We are going to talk about Gemrate. When you look at the numbers from Gemrate, because they do a breakdown by category, and even their categories are just insane. Like for basketball, last month it's 151,000 to 11,000 from SGC to 10,000 from Beckett. So no matter what, it's 10 to 1, right? Everything is 10 to 1, with the exception of TCG. Obviously, TCG. Even Beckett last month graded 37,000 TCG cards. SGC is lagging a little bit in that category. But
yeah,
they're making some strides to try to get some.
I will say you got to give credit where credit's due. And as someone who, my son who's 6 is not just, he's like into Pokemon. Right. And I have to buy him these booster boxes and all this other bullshit every other week. I don't even know what I'm buying.
Right.
There's some cool stuff in there. I gotta say that first of all.
Yeah.
But second of all, Bobbles has been preaching for months to me and a couple other guys in our chat that we have that Pokemon is it's the thing. It's the thing. It's going to be the thing. It's going to continue to grow. Right. And I was like, I never really put any thought into it. And then I've started to look at these numbers and things like that. And I'm like, man, that guy's right again. Like, I'm tired of him being right. Like, but he's always right. He's got a lot of knowledge.
Thing. Yeah. It's an international thing, right? So, I mean, like,
it's huge.
It's massive. In Asia, it's the biggest thing, right? Japan, it's the biggest thing. Pokemon has been around for a long time. And the thing about it is, bro, is that the core demographic for Pokemon nostalgia is not you and I. It's the generation after us, right?
Yeah.
So those guys are like my brother, like my youngest brother, my kid brother. He's barely about to turn 30, right? So he's barely getting to that point to where, career's good, little discretionary income, can start investing in some of those things. And
is he married yet?
Yeah, he's getting married, he's got kids and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Though,
I was just say he's not miserable yet. But never mind.
I love you, wife.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it goes kind of in sections, right? It's like, what did we grow up with? You and I grew up with basketball, right? Sports and football and things like that. And for him, it was, Pokemon, it was Yu-Gi-Oh, it's the TCG stuff. And so that carries a lot of nostalgia for them.
Maybe that helped to like make the world soft.
Could have been.
You know what I mean?
Because I was out playing football and basketball.
Yeah. Like I wanted to fight you, and I didn't even know you, but I wanted to fight you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like, but now like your brother though, he's out there like chasing a Pikachu. You know what I mean? So it's like you got grills and a turtleneck, and he's out there fighting the freaking Pikachu.
He was out there collecting Pokemon cards.
The hell? Maybe that's the problem. Well, you know what? We could have just discovered something.
That could be at the root of the causes of everything.
Yep.
But Pokemon. Yeah, so I mean, the TCG is here to stay, man. It's here to stay. The numbers, can't ignore them. And we're making a stride.
Clearly by the grading numbers, dude.
Yeah,
it's way more popular than sports cards.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it's not even close, right? Yeah. I mean,
10x.
10x all of the sports cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just And it's weird because I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's because I don't collect
just
it
not
or
into
care to know about it or
Yeah.
want to know about it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
But when you look at those numbers and you really,
Look at this.
thanks.
Look at this.
That's just
500,000.
absurd. 2x baseball.
Yeah. 2 times. Right. Exactly.
2x.
I mean,
2x. They did
it's insane.
They did almost. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm trying to go to the full number here. 1.2. So out of that 1.2.
Yeah, where's his chart that he? But all right, so they did 485,000 trading cards.
Yep.
TCGs, right?
TCG. Mm-hmm.
And then you look, and we'll just call that. All right. So they did more than like basically all three sports right there combined.
Yeah.
Those three combined. What's that? 300,
550.
It's like 100,000 more sport cards than all of one category.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's like, it's actually fascinating, like for me, because again, like being kind of like looking at numbers and stuff a lot, and I'm not an economist or anything like that, but you understand data,
right?
And you look at that and you're like, good Lord,
yeah.
But then you look at so then I look at that too. The other two guys there, well, and there's CC, what is it?
CSG,
what?
CSG,
yeah,
and CGC.
CGC, there you go.
Yeah, that's the other one.
I mean, they're the second dog really there.
Yes.
And they're what? Just about 4 or 5x less than PSA.
Right. Yep.
So,
and think about that, man. Just think about that, because CGC was an offshoot of what was there before CSG came around, right? So CGC has been grading way before that. And then they also already had the pedigree from the comic books. Right. So CGC is not, they're not a knockaround company, dude. They've been here for a long time.
I know.
And the umbrella company is a massive company. So this, for PSA to be eclipsing them like that is insane.
It's interesting too, right? To think about when you look at all these numbers on this chart, and it doesn't matter what category you look at, right? All of the money that is tied into one company, right? Mm-hmm. So if you put PSA at the top of the hobby and they have all their little tentacles going out to all the different things, right? They essentially control the hobby.
They control the graded cards, yeah.
If they, I mean, dude, they definitely, all right. We know they control the graded card market. That's not even up for debate. You can't debate that. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is take it a step further. The resale market, you know what I mean? Like,
the secondary.
Like, it's they control the two kind of most important things.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's kind of scary though, isn't it?
So it's like Fanatics is coming in, and I'm like, now I'm thinking about this, right?
Yeah.
If something happens and there's a little rift, right? Because this is pure speculation on my part.
Yeah.
But you got two alpha dogs, right? Michael Rubin and Nat Turner, and I think two very different personalities.
And
I think, oddly enough, both from Pennsylvania.
I know Rubin's from Philly.
Yeah, and I think Nat Turner's from not Philly, but I think he's from Pennsylvania somewhere.
Yeah, he's up north somewhere up there.
Yeah, he's from the suburbs. But
burbs.
The burbs. But when you think about that, right? If there's a fracture there or something happens that those two guys knock horns or lock horns, I should say.
Can you imagine that pissing contest? But I mean, look, for as much respect as I got for Nat, I don't think, I don't, it's a dollar for dollar. I mean, Rubin's the man, right? But
Nat's a savvy businessman.
Oh, I know. That was gonna be my next point.
He's already hasn't he sold the company already for like billions of dollars?
Yeah. Well, so that was gonna be my point. Is that I think the fact that Ruben's getting into the sports card market and all that stuff, he basically saw an opportunity. He said, this business and this industry has somehow managed to stay afloat with zero marketing, right? He's
Right.
and for him, he's like, how is this possible, right? How is it possible that this market, that this hobby has maintained some sort of head above water profitability, at least to the point to where the
Yep.
doors are still open, with zero marketing, like zero marketing. There's nothing. There's no marketing whatsoever. There's no, you don't watch TV and see a Topps commercial or a Panini commercial. You don't see, them running ads or anything like that. Like there's nothing, right? And so he's coming in, he's going, wow, this is a great opportunity to grow this business, to grow this hobby, and to grow this market. But what drives that market is secondary value. And the people in charge of secondary value, to your point, is PSA, right?
Yeah, it's it's interesting.
It's an interesting relationship, right?
Yeah, and again, I mean, listen, I'm just having a little fun and speculating, right? Just to have something to talk about for a minute.
Yeah, but it's true what you're saying. There's a lot of merit to that.
It's there's that potential, right? Because who's going to take their ball and go home first? Now again, they could be besties and be having
they can
tropical
a good symbiotic
fruit
relationship
or some shit. Yeah. But again, I just see like PSA exists because of sports cards, right? And they exist because of coins and memorabilia and all this other stuff. So they've done over the last 30 years or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
They've done an outstanding job of becoming the leader in all things memorabilia and authentication.
Right.
So, but they're dependent on people collecting, which people are always going to collect.
I think so.
There's no one. There's no now. What's really interesting, right? At what point does this hobby move from cardboard to straight digital?
Oh, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Really?
I mean, dude, Panini tried it. Panini was literally trying to.
But time out. Let me finish. Right? You've got some smart people out there, right? And I would say that in the last 3 years, there has been more technology. What's the word?
Advancements?
Nope. Infusion into this space than ever before in all of the years of sports cards and trading cards combined.
Agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Now, we know as well that technology takes a little bit of time to either A, get off the ground, get everything right, yada, 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 get through the testing, and then have yourself a product that you can go to market with confidence with, right? There are companies out there that are still
trying to grind it out, right?
Still and now we've had this economy come and basically kick all these companies in the nuts, right?
Yeah.
Interest rates are through the roof.
Right.
So
money ain't cheap no more.
Right. And so what companies fold, you see a lot of these fractional companies pivoting to eBay, right? Like eBay's the daddy. eBay's your daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that movie. It's like Remember the Titans. When Denzel's like,
when they're getting on
Gary,
the
Gary, who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy? So eBay's standing there, right when we get on the bus and saying, guys, who's your daddy?
Yeah.
Who's your daddy? And they're because all roads have led back to eBay.
Yeah.
Alts listing on eBay, collectibles listing on eBay. Yeah. I don't know what else is out there. Rally, I don't know if they list on eBay, but the two big ones are listing auctions on eBay now.
So to your point, like a lot of there has been a lot of advancement with tech, but I think I think it's only going to be that, like, that advancement is only going to continue in a support role of the hobby. I don't think that it will ever be the hobby, because
No. I agree with that.
so and that's why I say that I don't think these cards will ever move to a digital
Yeah.
space.
All right. No, I'm with you on that.
You
I
see
do
what I'm
agree
saying?
on that.
I think
I do
everything
agree.
around it, all the support, what you and I do, what Card Hedge offers, some of these
Yep.
marketplaces, Arena,
Yeah.
Golden,
Yeah.
things
That
like that.
piece. Agreed. Yep.
All that
Some of
piece
these
is gonna,
trading sites.
yeah, to the moon, right? To the moon. I
Yep.
mean, like you said, we're barely seeing the beginning of it. Some of these
Yep.
companies are still in beta, right?
Yep.
But it's all around the fact that, hey, we're touching it. This is my card.
It's
I
a
have it.
tangible asset.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a big word for me too. So
that is. If you need a break, let me know.
yeah, I do. I'm gonna take a minute. Hang on.
So while JD,
All right, I'm back.
while JD cools off, but that's it. It's a good point, dude, and it's just something that you can't ignore, right? I mean, TCG is here to stay. I think PSA is obviously doing everything in their power to make sure that that market is well covered, and they're doing a great job at it.
No, they are. I mean, they're and I don't want this to sound like we're praising PSA, but it's like when you really like take a step back for a second, like their app is well done.
Their website.
Some of the things that we've learned in the last 12 hours, I think still have some room to grow, but I think in a year from now, I think they'll, if the Gentleman thing, they can dial that in and get that working for them consistently, and they can figure out, because I think there's something going on there between Gentleman and what's that?
Great segue.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I'm an artist, baby. I paint with words. But like, there's something going on between the grading with Gentleman, to what's going on after that in that like stupid little bar they have, like you're waiting for your Domino's pizza. Like something is happening there,
right?
That there's like a 2 to 3 week holdup on your cards moving forward after that point.
So, I mean, with everything that's been happening, dude, like with the numbers that PSA has been putting out, everything that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, Nat was pretty good about sending me an email and saying, "Hey, listen, man, if there's ever anything that you want to know, whatever I can talk about, I'll tell you. Just shoot me an email. Stop speculating. You can call me directly. You can email me directly, and I'll respond." And he's done that ever since. Ever since then, I've always sent him emails and asking him questions, and he's always been really good about answering. And so I sent him an email yesterday, and I said, "Hey, listen, you guys are killing it, man. 1.2 million, strictly from an operational standpoint. I'm like thoroughly impressed for whatever that's worth. But I can't help but notice how quick you guys are getting these cards out. I know you guys bought Gentleman. How much technology is involved in the grading process now that's potentially allowing you guys to do this?" And his response was very political, which I kind of respect. But his response was, yes, there is some technology involved now in the way we grade, right? There's tech involved. Now, he didn't get specifics. He didn't answer the question directly about, are you using Gentleman, yes or no? But he did say that there is some tech, that there's some tech now that's involved in the grading and in the research process, right? So back to that Domino's pizza thing that you were talking about, right? The one of the steps is research and ID and then grading, right? So first of all, they want to make sure they have the right card and they have it identified properly, and then they're going to grade it. Well, that's what he said, in the research and ID portion, as well as in the grading portion, there has been some technology that we've introduced to obviously help things out. Now, he did mention that they haven't been very vocal about it because they really didn't feel like they needed to. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it in retrospect, I kind of agree with what he's saying. They really had no reason to go out and publish or announce. What they did is they said, we're not going to say anything. We're just going to let the million cards a month do the talking, right? Which I kind of get that, right? There's a portion of me there that I'm like, okay, well, the million cards a month is cool, but I want to know why you're giving a grade of a 2 on ultra modern cards. Like that's
yeah.
right. There's a little something there, but he did give me that much, right? He did give me that much and say, hey, yeah, you're right. There is some new technology that's involved, and obviously that has helped significantly with our output. And so that's interesting, man. It's interesting to see that, that he was at least somewhat open about it. And yeah, he's basically saying, yeah, we're just letting the numbers do the talking, and man, those numbers are talking.
So, all right,
what are your thoughts on that? I see your cogs turning.
So two things. First thing is, I should have my last 2 PSA submissions back tomorrow. Now, I'll go in depth on my reveal tomorrow on some things, but what I'm kind of curious about is, when you and I were talking about this a little earlier when we were doing our show notes, because we do that, people. We do show notes.
This is a professional situation here.
Once every 10 shows, we do a show. Like we plan some stuff. But like we were talking about this earlier, and if this AI technology is machine learning, whatever you want to call it, is being programmed to grade prisms and tops chrome and refractors and this and that, right? Obviously you're getting all kinds of cards sent to PSA, right?
Yeah.
But what happens? Like I sent in a lower end set that had like a different kind of vibe to it, with some logos that protrude off the surface. The card feels like a wool baseball hat. I'm wondering because, man, these cards, like when I did my pre-grades, they weren't 6s, and I got some 6s.
And they came back 6s.
A couple of them did. Now, for what it's worth, it kind of killed my submission, because one submission was built around that set, and then 2, like I just didn't have that. Like that, the grades were so far off of where I thought like the lowest. Like I had every single card as an 8 or above, every single card.
And you got 6s.
So when I saw 6s and 7s, I was like, something's up here. Now
that was such a big part of my point with the recent price drop that they did, right?
But hang on though, because I got more to this. So I won't fully know until I get those cards back tomorrow. Did something happen to them while they were there? Yada yada yada. Because I know when I sent those things, whatevs.
They were money.
So now yesterday, you, my friend, made yourself a video, and you proclaimed to the world that PSA is giving out 6s and 7s or something like that all over the joint. So I said to myself, what? So I, like a good researcher, went on YouTube and last night for 3 hours, this is what I did. I typed in PSA reveals.
Right.
I didn't find anybody with any 6s and 7 reveals. And like my PSA sub was trash. Now, a couple of things I'm going to say about that in your defense.
Okay.
Maybe some people don't post that kind of content because they don't want anybody to see that they're getting hammered. Getting
hammered.
So, me, on the other hand, I don't give a rat's ass, so I'm gonna post it and talk about it.
Right.
The majority of the reveals I came across, people were very happy with their grades. They were very consistent. There was maybe one card here or there, and in big orders too, dude. Some people are spending some serious cash, by the way.
Serious money. Yeah.
So I had a little bit of an issue with that comment, because I felt like I thought it was just a little bit like,
Maybe too heavy.
I know you say things off the cuff sometimes, and I like that. That's what I love about you. But I thought that one was like,
was a little heavy-handed, huh?
I of all people had a little bit of a problem.
So a lot of that comes from. So the other thing, so I get a lot of DMs from people.
Yep.
That send me videos. No, they're sending me videos.
This is getting kinky.
Yeah. They're sending me videos of card reveal, stuff. And the most recent one that I saw was a guy doing a crossover.
Yep.
Where everything that he was sending was either a CSG 995, an SGC 95, or SGC 10. Everything.
Yeah.
And so, rightfully so, he's thinking, man, this is great. I'm going to crack these. And he did his research, and he saw that if he gets a PSA 10, he's money.
Keep talking.
Right? I got you. He's money. He's going to make money. And every single one of them came back either a 7 or an 8. He got maybe 1 or 2 that were SGC 10s that came back PSA 10s. So while you can see both sides of the coin, right? Like, I mean, you can get on and you can see videos where people had great results, and then you can see videos where they were just completely off. Like PSA was completely off. One of the things that I always look at is, and I'm still working on getting him on a chat with us, is Chris Sewell. Yeah, I always like watching his reviews or his reveals, his PSA reveals. Because if there's anybody that you can't say that he doesn't know what he's looking at, it's Chris Sewell. The guy is
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And so another person that we would need to have on is the guys from I got what's it
Got baseball cards.
Got baseball cards, yeah. Because those guys do pre-screening services, so they're offering their services as like pre-screeners. Like, we know what we're looking at, right? And I'd be curious to see how they think about the whole situation, because obviously when I'm looking at things, I'm looking at isolated incidents that people send me, and that's kind of my story.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And you can go online and you can see the other side of the coin as well, where like, oh, I killed it, 15, 60% gem rate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the isolated incidents that I see that really grab my attention are the ones that are really egregious, which is
like the
2s and the 5s and the 7s, right? Like ultra modern cards that are being graded that way. Another thing that I'm very, that I harp on pretty hard is in your case, right? With your Jordan, with your Fleer Jordan. Yep. Now, I looked at only the picture that you sent me, so I can't see the surface. But according to you, the surface was absolutely money.
Immaculate.
That card, if you would have sent it to BGS, I would bet good money that card would come back a black label. That's how good that card was that you sent.
Yeah. You know what?
And it comes back a 9.
It get a 9. I would bet my life if I cracked that and sent it to SGC, it'd get a 10.
I'll get a 10 all day.
10. And I'm probably gonna do that because I know
probably do that.
Yeah. I'm
Is that one of the cards that's coming back?
What's that?
Is that one of the cards that's coming back, or did you
get Yeah. And I'm trying to get like too enraged over this whole thing tomorrow, but like it's gonna happen.
You did your video already, right? When you sent them off? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I did this is what I'm sending crap. That was months ago. That was like back in January when I sent them. It's April.
Okay.
It's April.
Interesting.
So it's been months.
Which, by the way, if you're not already subscribed to JD's channel,
I need
links in the description.
6 people.
What do you need? Like 6 more?
6 people.
Come on, we can get you there.
I needed 4, and then 2 people bounced on me this morning.
No, we'll get you there tonight. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put out a little email blast here in a second. Oh yeah, we'll get you there. We'll get you there for sure.
Yeah, we gotta do that.
But I'm looking forward to that video.
Influencer. Like one of my life goals is to be an influencer now. Like after I get YouTube, I'm moving to perfume. And you know like those people in Macy's that stand there and you walk by and they just squirt you in the face and you're blinded by like
they mace you.
Yeah. That's my next thing. After I get to 1,000 subs, I'm going to Macy's and I'm going to start spraying people with perfume.
That's hilarious. I can just imagine you sitting there in a cheap suit, squirting people.
Yeah. 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 What do you think? Would you like that fragrance?
Hey,
No,
you
I don't
like
like. I
that?
don't
Well,
like
I don't
anything.
know,
I
lady.
can't even. I
I'm
can't
blind.
see. Ah.
I don't know. Let me.
But anyway, so like what we were, like I totally get like what you're saying, and I do agree. Like there's definitely those cases, right, where
Right.
there's this stuff that happens, and I would like to see, this is where I would like to see the companies step up to the plate and say, you know what, why don't you send that back in on us? Here's a label for shipping, and let us take a look at that again.
Yeah,
You know,
and I think they do offer that service. PSA does, but I don't think very many people want to go through the hassle. See, the problem is, look, so if I got a card back from SGC, now this has never happened, but if I got a card back from SGC that I was like, what is this? There's no way that this is a 7 or a 5, right?
yeah,
And if I'm looking at this and I'm going, hey, what? No, this isn't right. I feel pretty confident that I could reach out to customer service. They would, I could send it to them, and within a matter of days, right? Not weeks, not months, but in a matter of days, I could have that reviewed and then sent back to me within a week and a half, roughly. If you're about to get your sub back. If you wanted to dispute any of those cards, how much time we're talking? I know one time I had a label error on some of my cards.
yeah,
And it was like 2 weeks of emails back and forth before somebody said, "Oh yeah, this is what you got to do. Here's this label. This is what you got to put on the outside of the box." Okay, cool. Sent it in, and it was like another month or two
right,
before I got my cards back. And that was just
right,
that was an undisputed, like they couldn't dispute it because the card was clearly labeled wrong. They put the wrong label on it.
yeah,
And that was a 2-3 month ordeal, right?
yeah. That's like,
So that's
where they win obviously is with their resale value and all that crap. Where they suck is customer service.
yeah, 100%.
And you and I have talked about this at length. If this was any other industry, they'd be out of business.
Oh, for sure.
Like if this was your mechanic, my man would be, working at Dunkin' Donuts or something.
Oh, for sure.
He'd
have no business.
Yeah, it's so like that piece of it, like that's the flip side, right? Of all the dollar bills that PSA enables the hobby to enjoy. On the flip side, because of that, it's almost like they just say, "Yeah, well, tough shit,"
Right. Yeah.
Which, again, if they focused on the customer experience a little bit more and having the customer service and whatnot, then you're talking about utter domination.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like game over.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a
Because
reason.
then
There's a reason why people continue to submit with SGC despite
and BGS and
BGS
CSG
and all that stuff. Yeah,
and
despite the
FGA and
yeah.
ISA and OPP and FGC and
Dude, so you just said ISA, right? Somebody in one of the comments yesterday, they were like, "Oh, I don't even know," because I did that video about the price drop for PSA, and they're like, "I don't know. I'm sending all my cards to ISA for right now, from now on." And I'm like, ISA. And I asked you guys earlier,
Iowa State hockey. What are we doing? The Cyclones or whatever they are?
No. What was it? I asked y'all about it today.
It's ISA.
It is ISA, right? Yeah. And I was like, ISA.
I've heard of them.
International Sports Authentications.
Yeah.
I went on their website because I had no idea what this guy was talking about. I kind of started to poke fun at him because I was like, what? Why are you, who? You're sending them where? I actually, you know what? I had responded to his comment and I said, who? ISA. And he goes, all he said was, look it up. Like, do your research is what he said. So I was like, all right, fair enough. I'll do my research. They've been around since 2010.
Yeah.
They launched the company in 2010. But here's the interesting thing. A 1950. When did they hit their major milestone? It took them 6 years to reach 100,000 cards graded. That's like, I don't even understand how it takes you that long to do 100,000 cards.
And something about HGA when we had that dude, what was that guy's name? Patrick, Jordan.
Yeah,
I knew it began with a J.
Jay,
We had Jordan on. What did they just? Haven't they done 1 million cards?
They hit 1 million like in 2 years. Yeah.
So like, think about that for a second, right? Here's a company that's, and again, I don't know anything about ISA. I don't want.
Neither do I. We're off the cuff here, folks. Don't.
You know, for all the shit HGA gets, they've been around 2 years and have done 1 million cards.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably more than that now.
Right.
You know, so like,
yeah, it's definitely more.
You know, like that. But that's the stuff. Like, to me, that should be celebrated, not shit on, because it's showing this. Again, I think it shows maturity as far as the collector base goes, and that there is a true want and need for grading companies other than PSA, you know? And I think right now with SGC, CSG, BGS, HGA, and I really think FGC or whatever it is,
forensic
card grading or whatever the hell they are.
FCG, yeah.
They've got a really loyal fan base. I see cards pop up in sales data all the time that does well. I would put it in the same category as the 4 I just mentioned. Like,
right,
you've got some good alternatives out there that people are sending their cards to, right? Mm-hmm. So you could technically, if you really wanted to do it, like as a fun little like research experiment for like a time, you could have your PSA, you know, version of the hobby, and then you have everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think where PSA has won, or not won, but where they win day in and day out is their marketing, their ability to you know, they've captured something and they've never let it go. Yeah. And when they overtook BGS, they friggin' stomped their foot on their throat and they haven't let them off.
They haven't let up. Yeah.
That's what a winner does.
Yeah. They've never rested on their laurels for sure.
Right.
Never. Yeah.
And I think for a little while before Nat took over, you know, I think that company was headed in a direction that was probably opening the door for someone. And Nat just kind of came on board, sat in his chair, and said, "All right, hold on, bitches." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Much in the same way Peter did the same for SGC, right? Like these guys came in and they had an agenda and they made shit happen, and boom, here we go, right?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, and I think Fanatics, Michael Rubin, is about to introduce himself, like that Jay-Z song from the Black Album is going to play.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Yeah. And he's going to, I think, Fanatics is going to have a major positive impact on sports cards moving forward.
Dude, there's a lot of people that are not of that thought. There's a lot of people that think that it's like the worst thing that could happen to the hobby.
Because this hobby is like education. Education is people are afraid of change, right? The hobby's the same thing. It's the same thing, because what do you do when you collect? What are you? You're a creature of habit. And you get into your little cocoon or your little tunnel or your little friggin' DeLorean. And like myself, I'm a 90s guy, and that's kind of really where it is for me.
You're right? Man. I never thought about that.
No, but buddy, that's what I do. I'm
You're thought provoking.
You know? But when you think about that, and then you have all of this like stuff going on, this development, right? Like think about like when this is actually a pretty good analogy. Like think about like as like this country has been developed, right?
Mm.
Yeah, it's like Texas is a great example. You had small town America, da, 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 and you still have that in Texas. But then you go down the road to Houston and you're like, today,
Yeah.
it's like
Big
a major
metropolitan.
metropolis,
Yeah.
Like you look on Facebook the other day, I saw a picture of Tokyo in like, I don't know, 1960 and a picture of it today.
Oh, it's insane, right?
Every cubic inch of that land
Yeah.
is developed with something. Like
You want to see a crazy one? Look at the difference between Dubai in the 1990s.
yeah. Like
Oh
it was
man,
like one, yeah.
insane.
Yep. But that's my point, right? So like when people say that, they're comfortable doing their thing, and collectors are creatures of habit. They don't
Mm,
want anything to come in and mess up their way of doing business or their way of collecting, or you have to do it this way. That's to
mm.
me, there's no right way to do any of this. There's not, right?
Right.
Other than like the wrong way is to like light your cards on fire. Like don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Right?
Hey, even then, if that's you know what I mean, like
Yeah, but yeah, I guess if you're into that, right? And
yeah,
kinky. It's a little
yeah,
kinky,
yeah. Oh,
you
no.
know. But like
I mean, if you're a pyro,
that's my
that works.
point. So like that goes back to like the technology piece from before,
Right.
where people are resistant to the technology because it's something new, it's something different, and
Mhm,
they don't know how to use it, and they don't know what the outcome is because it's still so young, right? So
mhm, mhm.
when there's no data to back it up, and there's no like this is how it's been for years and years and years. Well, what it's like eBay, right? Why do people keep going to eBay?
Yeah, it's
It's the
habit.
same thing. And you can't and these guys and girls that had developed places like My Slabs, PWCC, uh, My Card Post,
Mm,
Buy Sports Cards, Arena Club, whatever, right? They get Veriswap. They get more crap about how do you know? Yeah, like nobody, the initial reaction every single time
it's
is
never positive, right?
hesitant, negative. What
Yeah.
is, and then why not? And maybe you don't take like your most expensive card, but why not try it out and
Mhm,
see if you like it, right? Because like for me, one of the things I was looking for, and we've talked about this on this very show, is I wanted the option to be able to trade cards online in a
mhm,
safe format because I
mhm,
can't get to shows, man. It's
mhm,
impossible for me.
mhm.
And a couple of sites have popped up over the last year now that have allowed me to safely trade cards
Yeah,
if I so choose. That's a home run for me,
yeah.
right?
Game changer, right?
So it, why, so like that negativity or that resistance, those people ultimately will do their thing and they're going to be fine. But the rest of us are going to adapt and move on and have
Mm,
a much more enriched experience than the Omar that sits there in his office and collects friggin' Hakeem, and no pooping on Hakeem. By the way, did you buy a Hakeem off Ty?
no.
Okay,
Why?
because in their latest video today that dropped,
I
he was
haven't watched it
buying.
yet.
All right, so he's buying. I only watched a little bit, but I watched enough to hear him say the guy that he was buying cards off of, like 90s cards and whatever. And he's like, "Hey, so did you sell that Hakeem card to your buddy?" And he's like, "Yeah, my buddy." He's like, "He's a big Hakeem collector." And I was like, "Hi, Omar must have bought something he didn't tell me about."
So
Um,
there's some stuff in the works, but we're still trying to figure it out. But yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
well, you bought
interesting.
it
I
on the
haven't watched it
video.
yet. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet.
He doesn't name your name, but I know, because I know things,
Yeah.
like telepathic. But anyway, that was my little rant on that, and I apologize for kind of
No.
dominating
That's
the
good, man.
conversation there.
No, it's
But
all good stuff. It's
it
all good
just it
stuff.
frustrates me when
No.
people are just closed-minded. Like I'm
Yeah.
not saying accept everything. Like sure, be skeptical, but for once in your stupid life,
Yeah,
open
a
up
little
your
bit.
friggin'
Yeah.
mind and try something different. You freaking whatever. Like, it just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because when people don't do that, things become stagnant, right?
Right. And bored.
And
You become
yeah,
bored with it.
yeah,
You know? Have fun. Like, support people, right? It's no different than the mom and pop shop in your town
right.
that you can go buy bread for $15 versus $5 at the supermarket. Well, you know what? Mom and pop are your neighbors, and the corporation, they don't give a rat's ass about you. You know what I mean? But mom and pop are hanging out with you at the softball field and the basketball courts, and you know them. I'd rather give $15. I mean, I'm not paying $15 for a loaf of bread. Who we kidding?
Well, that's
but
what I was
like,
gonna say. I mean,
you know what I'm
we're
saying?
talking a
I'll pay
$3 or $4
I'll
difference. I'm with you.
pay a couple dollars more
Right,
to
right,
support the people.
right.
But that's the stuff that really lights a fire under my arse.
Yeah,
So.
and unfortunately, I think your initial statement is so true. Is that collectors are creatures of habit, right? And habit, as you and I both know, is one of the hardest things to break, right? Especially when it comes down to something so subjective as what you like in terms of card collecting, right?
Right.
But again, we're going back to this conversation about how the last 2 years of the hobby, or even the last 3, you can say, have seen some of the biggest leaps in advancement that this hobby has ever seen. Period. Right? It's one of the reasons why the hobby was so attractive to Ruben in the first place. Right? It's because he's like, this is so untouched, and it's so underserviced, and it's such a great thing, right? Collecting
like
cards.
settling the West.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, man, this is a gold mine, right? Because you have people that are emotionally attached to this stuff. They're emotionally charged about it. There's a lot of nostalgia in it. It's it's still current because it's still sports, and it's very underserviced and underutilized. And in the last 2 years has probably seen the most that it's ever seen ever in the history of the hobby. Right. And so you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be like, well, no, I kind of like my shoe boxes and I'm good. Right. But there's a whole generation of collectors coming that are thirsty for this kind of stuff.
Think about this, dude. Think about the business that has been created off of cases to hold your graded cards in.
Yeah.
I can name like 3 companies right off the top of my head.
Right. But my brother's a great example. Right.
So without all of this, people have an idea of, hey, let's try this. This is something that we think addresses a need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does. Now, sometimes they hit the ball out of the park. Other times, it's a soft ground ball to first base, and they take their bat and go home.
Right.
But those things happen. But if you're truly in this for the long haul, then just keep an open mind.
Yeah, keep an open mind.
Freaking mind. And you know what? Again, pick your spots like you do with your collection. You collect Houston Rockets guys. You collect basketball. That's your spot, right? I bust your balls because you don't know anything about hockey, but that's okay. It's okay. But like, I don't know nearly about the NBA anymore like you do. Like I don't, and I don't pretend to. Like I don't. I think the NBA is a joke. But people love the NBA. Me, JD, does not. If you brought back, I'd watch a game from 1996 on YouTube right now, even though I know the outcome and what's going to happen.
Right.
Like, I'd still watch it.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you're shutting the door on things that are out there without even giving it a try, it's just like, nah. What are you doing?
You could be potentially missing out on something that could really enhance something that you already having fun with, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%, man.
No, good stuff, man. I totally agree with you, and that's it's one of the things you always try try to do is, keep an open mind about stuff and always be open to new stuff. And that's the only way we're going to move forward, man, unfortunately.
It's
Or
truth.
fortunately,
Do you get, hey, so now it's like the end of our show here. You got any pickups?
So I have not. I've been selling like a madman.
Nice.
That I had to reorder supplies.
Ooh.
I bought a 50 case of these PWEs.
Oh, yep.
This is my last one. This is my last one, Bubba.
Yep. You'll find on Amazon too, like those randomly just you buy them and then they're out of stock.
Yeah, well,
it happens to me all the time.
Yeah. So I loaded up. I bought a 100-pack this time around. I haven't even made it through, I'd say 25% of my shoe boxes that I had, like
yeah.
So like this is, my listed box.
Yeah, what have you been selling? Why don't you talk about that for a second, man? What have you been selling?
So good idea. Let me see. So there's been a lot now, mind you. Majority of what I have listed, is gonna be so it's ebay.com/store/retro hoop collectibles.
Put the link down below. Make sure you link your store down below.
Yeah. I'll make sure I do that. But a lot of it is just stuff that I've pulled over the years. But what's been selling a lot is football right now, because we're in the off season, so people are picking up deals, and I'm giving deals. Listen, folks are sending me stuff, sending me offers as long as it's within 20%. I'll probably jump on it. Because a lot of these cards I have are what's left from when I was pulling, and just a lot of stuff. So like I got a Pat Tillman silver, just stuff like this, like random autos that I pulled, like that one's $3.
Yeah,
like I got like Preston Williams auto. That guy has the best autograph ever with the smiley face.
Yeah.
Like random stuff like this that I pulled. Like I pulled this Robert Covington Tiger. Like if somebody was to offer me like $20 on this or $15, I might take it. Like this is all stuff that I have like sitting in these boxes that I really have no connection to whatsoever.
Yep.
A second year Luka. Here's a Justin Holiday auto. Yeah, just like random stuff.
Yeah, no, and it sells, man. I'm telling you right now, make sure you have best offer on every listing.
Oh, I do on everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it on everything.
I promote every one of my listings 5%. That's a pro tip from Bobbles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's not a lot. Like he was showing me the breakdown of his sales, because I was like, a lot. That's 5% more going to eBay, yada yada yada. And he's like, dude, hold on. And he showed me the breakdown, and I was like, oh, that's really not.
Yeah. So if this is a Carlos Correa prospect PSA 10.
Oh, just a prospect card.
Yeah, just prospect card PSA 10. I think comps are like 25. I got it at $20. Yeah. Somebody offers me 15.
But if you promote it, so
I don't promote anything. That's a good.
So I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm gonna let me holler at you for a minute. Keep talking while I bring my thing.
Yeah, but I mean that's really just it. I mean I've been doing pretty decent. Moving 3 or 4 cards a day. Today I sold 6. Just really just thinning out the herd, man. Honestly, because I mean me, I'm not a flipper or anything like that, but just if I can sell all this bulk, get a couple $100 and then turn that into, a couple more Shingu, maybe a couple more Jashawn Tates and things like that I like. It's all money, money that's in there for that I didn't have, you know what I mean?
So I'm going to tell you this, right? So when old Bobbles and I were talking, my impressions, which are defined as, we count an impression when a link to your listing appears on eBay. At this point, the buyer is 1 click away from your listing page. So I don't even fully understand what the hell that means, but
Yeah.
I have been averaging in like the low 110,000, 112,000 ish range
Yeah.
for a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Bobbles is like, dude, when you promote these things 5%, watch. Since I started this, I don't even know when we talked about this 2-3 weeks ago.
Yep.
My
Something like that.
listing impressions are up 146%
Jesus.
to 331,000 impressions.
Jesus.
So
What's your sales conversion rate?
it's dropped. It was at like 8%, and it wasn't at like 8. It was at like 7.2, and
Uh-huh.
it's dropped to 4.5. And I think a lot of that has to do with me waiting for my stupid graded cards to get back to
Ah.
have some. That's screwing me, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
used to
Yeah. Yeah.
SGC and the 5-day, 6-day get every week kind of thing or whatever, or every month having at least 2 orders of cards coming back.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
right now I'm going on months of I don't have a lot that I want to sell right now. So
Right.
I've listed the stuff I want to
Right.
sell. And I've learned a couple of things, and I think I wanted to talk about this earlier. But for whatever reason we didn't get it's all good, whatever. But
We
so
the
like
next episode we need to do strictly like selling. I think that'll be a good
yeah,
one.
and I think like I've learned a lot in the last 3 months from really paying attention to eBay for the first
Mhm.
time in 18
Mhm.
years. But what I've learned is this. You have to think about your listings. And what I mean by that is don't just open up a store, take all your cards and list them. Because at the basic or the starter store, whatever, the lowest level, you only get 250 free listings. And
Mm.
once you use them, if cards don't sell, they carry over. So if you list 250 cards and you sell 10, well, next month in May, you've only got 10 cards that you can
That you
list
can put
again.
in there. Yeah.
And like so 2 good guys to watch on this that I recommend because I just know the guys personally are JMac Sports Cards and Bobbles. JMac goes into eBay stuff much more now,
Mm.
and in much greater detail of what he's doing and things like that.
Mhm.
That it helps to like for me at like a way smaller level of a seller, like
Mhm.
apply some of that to what I'm doing. But what the lesson, the where I learned my lesson was I listed like 250 cards right away. And I listed a lot of hockey that people just don't want it. And
Mhm.
now I'm at the point of, so I increased my store to the next level, which is like, I think like basic. So you get like
Mhm.
1,000 listings, which is plenty for me because I don't have 1,000 cards I can list on eBay
Right.
right now.
Right.
I don't. I mean, I could buy some stuff and easily do that.
Right.
But I actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that. I do have 1,000 cards I could, but they're in my buy sports cards box.
Ah. Yeah, yeah.
And it's like some of it's not worth selling on eBay, right?
Mhm.
So what I learned is that's the first thing, right? And then you always want to have like something of the names. So like in baseball, you
Mm.
want to have some Mike Trout.
Like what's
You want
hot,
to
right?
have some Shohei Ohtani. You want to have some Julio Rodriguez, Bobby
Because that
Witt.
stuff will move, right?
Yep. It'll
Yeah.
move. And even if it's $1 or $20, if you can buy them in lots, which people are willing to sell to you in lots, on Facebook and things like that, you can turn around. And if you're getting them for $2 a card on Facebook, you can sell them for 4 or 5 on eBay. And
Mhm.
even after the fees, you're making $2.
Right.
So that adds up.
Yeah,
Right.
and you're doing that 10 times, right?
10, yeah, you do that
Yeah.
10 times. Hey, okay. And then, but so like I said, where I've kind of hit I think a lull is I don't have some of those graded cards listed to kind of fuel the selling each month.
Yeah. Keep the monster
And
happy, right?
yeah, and B, the other thing I've learned recently is schedule your listings. So like when you have time
You told me
and you
about
can
that.
sit down and you can go into like your template and create templates of football cards, baseball cards, basketball cards, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you can go and just create them and save them. And then as you add images and list or whatever, you can schedule those listings for each day of the week. So like our boy Jay Wilson there, he schedules them out different days at different times, whatever. I schedule mine daily, like 5 at a time, but I have them go like 10 minutes apart from each other. So like you're constantly kind of feeding eBay every day. At least, you know what I mean? A little something, something.
Yeah, so you sit down and do like 50 of them in one shot, but you feather them
Yeah.
out as they go
Yep.
live, right?
Yep. That way I don't have to, on a Saturday, I don't have to waste 3 hours listing cards. I can do it once.
So what does that do for you in terms of like
It just so like
is
part
there
of
like an algorithm that makes happier?
yeah.
or
So
something?
part of like what a lot of people talk about that sell on eBay is that eBay algorithm, and that algorithm really wants to see you putting more stuff on eBay. And
Consistently.
the more you list, the thought is that algorithm views that as a positive and helps your cards. Now,
Yeah.
the flip side to that is, with promoted listings, you could jack that baby up and you could sell something pretty quick.
Right. Right.
It's just a matter of what do you want to do, right? Because you're eating into your profits at that point. But the
Right.
5% thing, I'm still selling cards, but I'm not selling them. I'm down 2.5 percentage points so far this month, which isn't good because I'm trying to hit $1,000 in sales every month. I didn't come close to it last month, and as of right now, I'm not going to come close to that this month.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to say, you mentioned football cards. I owe everybody in America an apology because for whatever reason, I've never been big on football cards, and I don't know why. And again, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with
you're in your little niche,
tunnel
right?
vision and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I've started to load 90s football into Card Hedge, and I'm saying to myself, I really liked watching these guys, the Barry Sanders, the Jerry Rices, the Joe Montanas, the friggin' Ty Laws, this guy, that guy, even guys like you forget about like Leroy Butler and this, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these guys were great players I watched growing up. Why am I not collecting their cards? So I'm collecting. I've expanded my horizons, and I'm going to start collecting some football cards.
Now you're getting into some football
Now,
stuff.
I don't like the modern stuff, the new stuff, because again, I think the money that's being spent on these quarterbacks and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you can't hit on them all. So, there's what? How many teams are in the NFL? 32?
32.
How many?
32.
32. So there's 30. I think it's 32.
I think you might be right.
I want to say that's 32. But there's 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
32.
Now, right, if you break that down, you say 12 are below average, right? 10 are like, okay. Like they're they could pop off or what, but they're going to be middle of the pack. And then there's 10 guys that really have a shot at winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
Well, your odds aren't really that good.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's nothing that says that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Josh Allen, or Josh Allen is better than Joe Burrow, or the only thing we know right now is Patrick Mahomes is the guy.
Right.
Brady's gone. It's Patrick Mahomes' league, right?
Right.
So, but then that also doesn't mean now Aaron Rodgers, who just went to the Jets, somehow they don't have a miracle run this year.
Exactly.
And you buy Aaron Rodgers on the low, and my man pops off. Now, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I wouldn't buy his cards ever. But like, there's some interesting stuff out there in football that it's like, especially like the retired guys. I'm looking at it and I'm like, what am I doing? I love these guys. I love Peyton Manning. I love my Giants guys. Like, I love that stuff. Like, so why did I have such blinders on?
Yeah, tunnel vision. That's right.
But I took them off. Them off.
Expanding those horizons, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Good stuff, man.
That's all I got.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, we'll wrap it up, man. I got some folks from the other side of the world I got to talk to.
All right, bro.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good jazz. Follow JD's channel, subscribe. The link's down below. Check them out. We got to get them to 1,000. We got to get them over the hump. I'm going to make some calls tonight, buddy. We're going to get you over 1,000 tonight.
Yeah, call your people.
Tonight we're doing that. Leave a comment, leave a question. Thank you guys for watching. I think next week we're definitely going to try to dig into a little bit more of the selling side of things. I think that's a pretty good, interesting topic, especially for me because it's all new. So we'll get there for sure. But
yeah, I think it might even be a good idea to have a couple guests on too.
Yeah, we might have to start doing that pretty soon. We've been kind of
like I think on that topic because you kind of represent like a newer seller.
Yeah.
I'm like an intermediate kind of guy, and then there's guys that are doing this, like J-Mac, Bobbles. Bobbles is selling all kinds of shit.
Yeah, well, not only that, but they've been doing it for years, right? I mean, so they've been on it.
Yep.
Cool, man. We'll figure something out. We'll definitely try to see if we can reach out to some folks and get some seasoned vets on here and make that happen. But all right, cool. We appreciate you guys watching as always. Love y'all. Peace out.